The first day of college was supposed to feel exciting, but for Anaya, it felt like stepping into another world. The campus buzzed with noise, students carrying books, others rushing with coffee cups, laughter spilling across the courtyard. She adjusted the strap of her bag nervously, her heart thumping against her chest. It wasn't just about starting her degree in business. It was about finally being free of the small town where everyone knew her name, her family, and every rumor about them. She wanted a fresh start. Her eyes scanned the wide hall, trying to find her classroom, when she bumped into someone, scattering her books across the floor. "Oh shoot, sorry," a voice said quickly. She bent down at the same time as him, reaching for her notebook, and their hands brushed. She looked up to see a boy with messy black hair, an easy grin tugging at his lips. His eyes sparkled with amusement as he handed her book back. "Welcome to college life. First rule, don't carry everything at once," he teased. She couldn't help but smile, even though her cheeks warmed. "Noted. Thanks. I'm Karan," he said, standing up and slinging his bag over his shoulder. "Anaya. Well, Anaya, since you're clearly new and already lost, I'll show you where the business wing is." And just like that, the first connection of her college life was made. Karan turned out to be the kind of guy everyone noticed. He wasn't the top of the class, but he was quick with jokes, confident in a way that drew people toward him. He played basketball in the evenings, hung out with friends in the cafe, and seemed to know half the campus within weeks. For Anaya, who was quieter, who preferred the library over the court, their friendship was both surprising and effortless. Karan had a way of breaking through her shyness, pulling her into conversations, and making her laugh until her stomach hurt. But what she didn't tell him, what she didn't tell anyone, was that her family had history with his. Back in her town, everyone knew the story. Their fathers had once been business partners, until betrayal and financial loss tore them apart. Lawsuits, public arguments, accusations of fraud. Since then, both families had refused to even speak to each other. Growing up, Anaya had heard her father curse Karan's family name more times than she could count. She never thought it would matter. She never thought she'd meet someone from that family again, especially not here in a new city. But fate, it seemed, had a twisted sense of humor. Weeks passed, and their friendship deepened. They studied together in the library, shared snacks during breaks, and walked back toward the hostel in the evenings. Slowly, something unspoken grew between them, a tension that lingered in the air whenever their eyes met for a little too long, whenever his shoulder brushed hers, whenever his jokes softened into something more tender. One evening, after a late basketball practice, Karan found her waiting on the bleachers, scribbling in her notebook. "You're still here?" he asked, wiping sweat from his forehead. "I was bored," she said with a shrug. "Thought I'd watch you pretend to be good at basketball." He laughed, tossing his towel at her. "Pretend. Please. You should see me when I'm really trying." She threw the towel back, rolling her eyes. "Sure." He sat beside her, his breath still uneven from the game. For a while, they sat in silence, the empty court glowing under the floodlights. Then he glanced at her notebook. "What do you write in there all the time?" Her fingers tightened on the pen. "Just thoughts. Stuff I don't say out loud." "Like what?" She hesitated, then shook her head. "You wouldn't get it." He leaned closer, his voice softer now. "Try me." For a moment, she wanted to tell him everything, the weight of her family's expectations, the secrets she kept, the fear that one day he'd discover who she really was. But instead, she simply said, "Dreams. Fears. Things like that." His eyes lingered on her face, searching. Then he smiled gently. "One day, you'll let me read it." Her heart skipped a beat. She looked away quickly, pretending to focus on the court. But deep inside, she knew something was changing. The change became impossible to ignore after the freshers' party. Music thumped through the hall, lights flashing, students dancing and laughing. Anaya wasn't much of a party person, but Karan had convinced her to come. Live a little, he had said, dragging her toward the dance floor. She tried to protest, but soon she found herself laughing, moving awkwardly at first, then loosening up as Karan twirled her around. His energy was infectious, his grin wide as if nothing else in the world mattered but this moment. And then, in the middle of the music and chaos, he leaned close, his lips brushing her ear. "You look beautiful tonight." Her breath caught. She turned to look at him, their faces only inches apart. For a heartbeat, the noise around them faded, the world narrowing to just the two of them. But before anything could happen, someone interrupted. "Karan," a voice called. They turned to see one of his teammates waving him over. He looked at Anaya, hesitation in his eyes, then squeezed her hand. "Don't go anywhere." She nodded, her heart pounding as she watched him leave. But she wasn't alone for long. A group of seniors nearby had been watching, whispering among themselves. One of them, a tall guy with a mocking smile, stepped closer. "So you're the new girl," he said, eyeing her up and down. "Hanging out with Karan Malhotra, huh? Brave of you." Anaya frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" The senior smirked. "You really don't know, do you? His family's enemies with yours. Malhotra and Kapoor families. They've been at each other's throats for years. And here you are, dancing with him. Wonder what your dad would say if he saw this." Her stomach dropped. The blood drained from her face. "How do you?" "Small world," the guy interrupted, clearly enjoying her shock. "Word gets around." Anaya stumbled back, her mind spinning. She barely noticed when Karan returned, his grin fading as he saw her expression. "What happened?" "Are you okay?" he asked, reaching for her arm. She pulled away, her voice trembling. "I need to go." "Wait, Anaya, what's wrong?" But she was already walking away, her chest tight, her vision blurring with tears. The truth she had been hiding was out, and sooner or later, Karan would know everything. That night, she couldn't sleep. Her father's angry voice echoed in her memory, all those warnings about the Malhotras. "They ruined us, Anaya. Never forget that." And now, the boy she was falling for was from that very family. The next day, she avoided him. She skipped their usual library session, ignored his calls, pretended she was too busy with assignments. But by evening, he cornered her near the hostel gates. "Enough," he said firmly, blocking her path. "What's going on? Why are you avoiding me?" She looked away, her throat tight. "It's complicated." "Then uncomplicate it. Talk to me." Her eyes filled with tears as she finally whispered, "My father hates your family. He always has. Your dad and mine were business partners once, but it ended in disaster. He blames your father for everything. If he knew about us," her voice broke, "he'd never forgive me." Karan stared at her, stunned. For a moment, he said nothing, just processing. Then, slowly, he reached for her hand. "So what? Our families have problems. That doesn't mean we do." "You don't understand," she said, pulling back. "This isn't just a fight. This is years of hatred. If they find out, it won't just be anger, it'll be war." He stepped closer, his voice low but fierce. "Then let there be war. Because I'm not letting go of you, Anaya. Not for family feuds, not for anyone." Her heart pounded, torn between fear and longing. Deep down, she knew he meant it. But could love really survive the weight of history? The next few days on campus felt different. Anaya had expected Karan to pull away after learning the truth, but instead, he stuck closer than ever. He met her outside her classes, saved her a seat in the library, and texted her constantly. But the more he held on, the more anxious she felt. Because the whispers had already begun. In the cafeteria, students stared when they walked in together. Some whispered loud enough for her to hear, "That's her, the Kapoor girl. With him." Others smirked as if their relationship was some kind of scandalous joke. One afternoon, she overheard two seniors talking near the vending machine. "Did you hear? Anaya Kapoor and Karan Malhotra are a thing." Kapoor and Malhotra. Damn, that's going to explode. Their dads practically want to kill each other. Bet you $1,000 they won't last a month. Her hands shook as she bought her soda, pretending not to hear. But inside, she wanted to scream. Why couldn't anyone just let them be? That evening, she confronted Karan in the courtyard. "This isn't working," she said, her voice trembling. He looked at her in disbelief. "What do you mean?" "People are talking, Karan. Everyone knows now. It's not just about us anymore, it's about our families, their history, their hate. We're caught in the middle of something bigger than we can handle." His jaw tightened. "So what? Let them talk. Let them hate. We're not our fathers, Anaya." She shook her head, tears stinging her eyes. "But we'll be the ones paying for their mistakes. Don't you get it? My dad will never accept this. Yours won't either." Karan stepped closer, his voice firm. "Then let me ask you one thing. Do you want this? Do you want us?" Her breath hitched. She wanted to say yes, more than anything. But fear held her back. "Even if I do, it doesn't change reality." "It changes everything," he said, his eyes burning with determination. "Because if we want it, we'll fight for it. Together." Her heart wavered, caught between fear and hope. Slowly, she nodded, and he pulled her into his arms, holding her as though he could shield her from the entire world. But reality hit sooner than either of them expected. One Sunday evening, as Anaya was leaving the library, she found her father waiting in a black car outside the gates. Her stomach dropped. He stepped out, his face thunderous. "Get in," he ordered. "Papa." "Now, Anaya." Her hands shook as she obeyed, sliding into the back seat. The air inside was suffocating. He didn't speak until they were halfway home. "Is it true?" he asked finally, his voice cold. "Are you involved with that Malhotra boy?" Her throat went dry. "Papa, please. Answer me." Tears welled in her eyes. "Yes." The silence that followed was worse than his anger. His jaw clenched, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. "I warned you," he said finally, his voice low and dangerous. "That family destroyed us, Anaya. They ruined everything I built. And now you dare to bring their son into my house. Into my life again." Her voice shook. "He's not his father, Papa. He's kind, he's good. He cares about me." "Enough," her father roared. "You will end this, do you hear me? Tonight. Or else." "Or else what?" she whispered, though she was terrified of the answer. He didn't reply. But his silence was louder than any threat. That night, she cried into her pillow, torn apart. She couldn't bear to lose her father's love, but the thought of leaving Karan broke her completely. Her phone buzzed with his messages. "I know he found out. Don't give up on me. We'll figure this out. Please meet me tomorrow." She clutched the phone to her chest, whispering into the darkness, "I don't know if I'm strong enough." The next day, she met him anyway. They sat on the bleachers of the basketball court, the same place where so much between them had begun. She told him everything, her father's anger, his ultimatum, her fear of losing both him and her family. Karan listened silently, his hands clenched. When she finished, he said softly, "Anaya, I can't promise this will be easy. But I can promise one thing. I won't let you face it alone. If your father thinks this is just some college fling, we'll prove him wrong. We'll prove everyone wrong." "How?" she whispered. "By standing together," he said. "By showing them that we're serious, that we're not just kids playing at love. We'll build something real. Something they can't ignore." For the first time in days, hope flickered inside her. Maybe he was right. Maybe love wasn't just about feelings, it was about fighting, proving, enduring. But the war between families escalated. Word reached the Malhotras too, and soon Karan's father summoned him home. "I hear nonsense about you and that Kapoor girl," Mr. Malhotra said, his voice icy. "Tell me it isn't true." Karan stood tall, his heart pounding. "It is. I love her." Mr. Malhotra's face darkened. "Love? Do you know what her father did to me? He betrayed me, ruined our business, dragged our name through the mud. And now you dishonor this family by running after his daughter." Karan's mother tried to intervene gently. "He's young, let him." But Mr. Malhotra cut her off. "No. He will end this. Or he will not step foot in this house again." Karan's fists clenched. For a moment, he thought about arguing, about trying to explain. But then he realized, nothing he said would change his father's mind. "I won't leave her," he said quietly. "Not for you, not for anyone." And with that, he walked out, his heart pounding with both fear and defiance. Back at campus, the pressure grew unbearable. Some students taunted them openly now, calling them Romeo and Juliet 2.0. Professors frowned when they saw them together, muttering about distractions. But in the middle of all that noise, their bond only deepened. They studied harder, encouraged each other, dreamed together about escaping the chains of their family's feud. One evening, as they walked across the empty quad, Anaya stopped suddenly. "Karan," she whispered, "what if they never accept us? What if this fight never ends?" He took her face in his hands, his eyes steady. "Then we'll make our own family. Our own future. And one day, they'll see. They'll regret doubting us." Her chest ached with love and fear. She nodded, leaning into him, holding on to the only certainty she had left, him. But fate had one more blow in store. A week later, her father showed up at her hostel with lawyers. "You're coming home, Anaya," he said sharply. "You're a minor in my household until you graduate, and I will not have you ruin your future with this nonsense. Pack your things." Her friends watched awkwardly as she froze, her heart pounding. Then Karan appeared, his voice calm but strong. "Sir, please. She's not a child. She deserves the right to choose her own life." Her father's eyes blazed. "You stay out of this. You're nothing but your father's son. A liar. A thief." Karan's jaw clenched, but he didn't back down. "Believe what you want about my father. But don't judge me by his sins. I love your daughter, and I will stand by her." For a moment, silence hung heavy. Then her father turned to her, his eyes burning. "Choose, Anaya. Him or me." Her chest constricted, tears streaming down her face. She looked at Karan, then at her father. The two people she loved most, standing on opposite sides of a war she had never asked for. Her voice shook as she whispered, I can't lose either of you." But the choice hung in the air, demanding to be made. The world seemed to freeze around Anaya as her father's ultimatum echoed in her ears. Him or me. The choice was like a knife slicing her heart in two. On one side, the boy who made her feel alive, seen, loved. On the other, the man who had raised her, protected her, sacrificed his life for her future. Tears blurred her vision. "Papa, please," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Don't make me choose. I love you. And I love him. Why can't you just let me have both?" Her father's expression didn't soften. If anything, his eyes hardened. "Because he will destroy you. Just as his father destroyed me." Her chest tightened. She wanted to scream, to tell him he was wrong, that Karan was nothing like his father. But words seemed useless now. Her father's pain was too deep, his scars too raw. Karan touched her hand gently, his voice steady. "Anaya, whatever you decide, I'll respect it. Even if it means losing you." Her heart shattered at his quiet strength. She wanted to run into his arms, but her father's piercing gaze held her frozen in place. Finally, with tears streaming down her cheeks, she whispered, "I need time." Her father scoffed, but didn't push further. "You'll come home tonight," he ordered, before turning sharply and walking away. Anaya watched him leave, her entire body trembling. Karan squeezed her hand. "We'll figure this out," he said softly. But she wasn't sure if she believed it anymore. That night at home was torture. Her father didn't speak to her at dinner. Her mother